In December of 2019, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Little did I know that this would change my life forever. I now have to inject insulin daily, constantly check my sugar, and completely adjust my diet in order to stay healthy. According to the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases, nearly 30.3 million people are diagnosed with diabetes in the United States. According to the Discount Drug Network, nearly 1 million people in the U.S. currently are battling Parkinson's disease. I personally have diabetes, so I have experienced having to buy the drugs and the high cost of these drugs. And I've also been researching Parkinson's disease and the cost of those life-sustaining drugs as well as diabetes. As Americans, we need to embrace major changes to our pharmaceutical industry through the insurance companies, the patent system, and advertising. This is the only way for us to ensure that we are promoting life and providing these vital medications to the patients who need them the most. So with diabetes, there is type 1 and type 2. Type 1 diabetes is known as juvenile diabetes. It is non-preventable and it does have a genetic component to it. This is where the immune system begins to attack the pancreas, leading to a shortage of insulin in the body. With type 2 diabetes, it is typically seen in overweight people who have a bad diet. Their bodies are producing insulin regularly, and most of this can be reversed through a better diet. According to Statin News, insulin was invented and was meant to belong to the world, and the patent was sold for $1 to the University of Toronto. However, we can see that pharmaceutical companies saw an opportunity to upcharge this drug and to make a profit off of it. When looking at Parkinson's disease, it is a debilitating, life-altering disease that affects the motor functions of the body. According to Discount Drug Network, there is currently no cure for this disease. There are treatments that help to reduce the symptoms. One of these is dopamine, which helps with balance, and the other is bromocriptine, which helps with tremors. Both of these drugs are $100 for a 60-day supply. As symptoms worsen in these patients, they have to buy more drugs and pay outrageous prices in order to maintain a quality of life. Now, what is the reason behind this issue in the United States? I have come up with a few problems from my research. One of these is the pharmaceutical company. According to the British Broadcasting Company, the average profit margin is the highest compared to banks, car makers, oil and gas, and media companies. And this is the graph I have right here. I will include this at the end of the slides, but this is the pharmaceutical industry at the top. They also claim that over $1 billion goes towards researching and creating new drugs. However, this actual amount, according to an American Sickness, is $43.4 million to $125 million. So this may make you wonder, where does this extra money go? Are these drug makers pocketing this money, or are they putting it towards advertising? Why can't it go towards the development of new drugs? Another problem is the insurance companies. Companies are not making health insurance accessible to those who are in the most dire need of it. They try to add incentives to improve the cost of healthcare. However, most of the time, this does the complete opposite and makes it much more expensive for people in poverty to afford adequate insurance. Another problem is the patent system. Drugs are covered by many patents that protect not only the molecule, but also the process that creates each particular formation and the delivery system, according to an American Sickness. Patents lead to an increase in competition to see which drugs can make the most money among name brand drugs. The name brand company can switch methods of delivery, and no generic will be able to form a cheaper version due to the patent extension. So an example of this will be going from a tablet form to a capsule form. Another problem is advertising. The US and one other country are the only countries in the world that advertise their drugs. Advertising affects the ways that we make decisions, according to a study called Marketing Actions Can Modulate Neural Representations of Experience Pleasantness. This was specifically a study between the different types of wine. However, this also applies to drugs. The results were the higher the price of the wine, the higher the expectations of the participant. The same thing can be seen in drugs. Drugs should not be advertised to the public due to the effect they can have on the patient's decisions. Now that I have addressed all of these problems, I would like to offer some solutions that the United States government can implement. One of these solutions is moving from a fee for service into a quality of care payment method. This will allow patients to have more money to pay for drugs due to the doctor's appointments becoming cheaper for the patient. There was also an act that recently got sent to the Senate called the Insulin Reduction Act, and it is still undecided on today. However, it was proposed by the Trump administration, which means that our current government officials realize this is a problem and that something needs to be done about it. Another solution is cost sharing, which involves more insured people in the United States. When more people purchase insurance, the overall cost of healthcare will go down. The U.S. can incorporate savings for policyholders, which leads to more people wanting to purchase insurance, which leads to cheaper insurance overall for everybody. Another solution is strengthening the patent guidelines. According to Mistreated, the companies know that the patients have no alternative but to buy their products due to this patent system. We need to still allow competition in the pharmaceutical industry. However, we can't allow price gouging among the people that need these drugs. The guidelines could also be more specific to the development of drugs to ensure that the companies are following the correct regulations. And then the final solution is no public advertising. Advertising needs to shift more to the clinics and the hospitals rather than the general public. Patients cannot understand all of the content in these advertisements, which ends up making them confused on which product they actually need. They can seek advice from their doctor, and the pharmaceutical companies will not be spending nearly as much money on advertising anymore. So in conclusion, once we embrace these changes in our pharmaceutical company through the insurance companies, the patent system, and advertising, we will see an overall decrease in the overall cost of healthcare, and it'll be more affordable for patients to become healthy. The reason drug prices are so high, once again, is because of the pharmaceutical company, the insurance company, the patent system, and advertising. The main solution is to adjust these guidelines for these companies and the patent system, and to no longer allow public advertising. Today, I'm learning to take better care of my health as a type 1 diabetic, and I'm hoping for the day that these medications become cheaper and more affordable. Thank you for your time.